The world's a dangerous place. Get the industry's original and most trusted laser sighting system from Crimson Trace. A laser and light systems will enhance your effectiveness and help keep you and your family out of harm's way.
Broadcasting nationwide, this is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of Gun Talk. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN. That's 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Or reach out to us via email at tom@guntalk.com. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, here's Tom Gresham.
All right, we're rounding third and heading toward home. We're in the third hour of Gun Talk. Glad you could be with us. A lot of things going on. By the way, I'm Tom Gresham. If you'd like to join us, it's really easy. You can shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. You can join me on Twitter, where I'm at Gun Talk. Also, of course, the really, truly fun way is just to give us a call. We'll talk about guns, gun rights, gun collecting, whatever you want to talk about. 866-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486. Easier, honestly, just dial 1 and then Tom Talk Gun. That'll get you in here. I mentioned earlier that there was some breaking news on the Shaneen Allen case, the mother of two out of Pennsylvania who drove into New Jersey, unsuspecting, unbeknownst to her, thought her permit was good in New Jersey, her carry permit. It was not. She got arrested, now facing felony charges. And joining us right now to explain what's going on, where we are at the moment, Evan Nappen is her attorney and our good friend and a longtime visitor on Gun Talk. Hey, Evan, how are you?
Hey, Tom. Great to be here.
Well, I mean, this when I got this news on Friday, I just kind of like, holy smoke, what's going on? So if you would start from the beginning, you got some kind of contact from the prosecutor this week, right?
Yes. Just as a brief overview, as you summarize Shaneen Allen's case, she made an honest mistake. It's that simple. There's no aggravating factors whatsoever. She got pulled over for a minor traffic violation, failure to maintain lane. As soon as she produced her driver's license and her other papers, she also immediately produced her license to carry a handgun issued to her by the city of Philadelphia. She had no idea that New Jersey didn't honor such a license. It's not uncommon because people think, look, if you're going to honor my driver's license, why wouldn't you honor my gun license, which was substantially harder to get?
Right.
So, with background checks and everything else. But as soon as she did, she got arrested. And the problem is New Jersey's handgun law is so draconian without any flexibility that if you're convicted of unlawful possession of a handgun, you're looking at 10 years in state's prison with a minimum mandatory, no chance of parole, 3.5 years. So the last time we were in court was plea cutoff before we were going to a trial, which was supposed to start October 6th, and the best offer the prosecutor gave, and that's the moment when they have to give their best offer, was 5 years in state prison with a minimum mandatory 3.5 years, no chance of parole. So you can see it was an incredibly harsh situation for her. She had been denied PTI, which was pretrial intervention. That's a program where you would be the person who gets into it ends up with no felony conviction and doesn't do any jail time. And, of course, what's been in the news lately is it's the same prosecutor and judge who gave Ray Rice PTI, who was physically violent to his significant other and later to be wife, which the video shows him striking her in the elevator. He gets PTI, actual violent act, whereas Shaneen gets denied PTI, whose only crime was crossing the Ben Franklin Bridge. So we had this situation, and we were set for trial, and then we received a letter on Friday from the prosecutor, which was sent to the judge, in which the prosecutor said that he is in the process of reviewing his office's position on the appropriate resolution of Shaneen's matter and asked that it be adjourned for 3 weeks. So the judge has adjourned the trial and our pretrial conference so the prosecutor could, in effect, reevaluate his position. And I'm cautiously optimistic here for Shaneen. The prosecutor, I think, knows that we want no felony conviction for her and no jail time whatsoever. She was a medical professional, worked as a phlebotomist, and she, essentially lost her job. And if she becomes a convicted felon, she will be, her life will be ruined, plus going to jail. They'll take her away from her 2 young boys. It's just outrageous. Here this woman is living in one of the toughest areas, if not in the United States, at least in Philadelphia, which is South Philly, and she was robbed twice in South Philly. She qualified for her license. I mean, she has absolutely no criminal background. She's a law-abiding citizen trying to make her way in a tough town, taking care of her kids. And she was on the way to Atlantic City to set up a surprise birthday party for one of her young boys. And so there is no aggravating factor here, and justice really needs to be served in the form of not destroying this wonderful woman.
Let me ask you, Evan, let me ask you here. So the prosecutor said, look, we need a little time out here. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to take another look at this because we're going to try to figure out what we're doing. They were adamant that they wanted to throw her in prison. That's where they were going with this, and they were absolutely rock solid. That's where they're going. And then all of this news about Ray Rice, and the video comes out, and all of a sudden we're getting coverage not just in the gun world, but we're getting coverage in Fox, CNN, Washington Post, New York Times. Everybody's talking about Shaneen Allen and how simply wrong this is. Prosecutors' offices are, in fact, at least partially political offices, right?
Yes, they are. And as you point out, the amazing thing with Shaneen is on both sides of the aisle, even, media outlets that we not normally consider to be our friends of the Second Amendment, recognize just how outrageous this conduct was. And yes, I mean, prosecutors, look, you can't escape politics, and, you can ignore politics, but it won't ignore you. And this is what is happening here. And it's not just the politics, but it has to do with what's right.
Right.
It has to do with what is so blatantly outrageous to any impartial, or even if you have a bend against guns, you still can't say, hey, this is a great idea. Let's ruin this woman in the name of gun control. I mean, come on. So this has really been a case that has highlighted other issues of our concerns, such as minimum mandatory sentencing and the evil that holds with it, and the need for national reciprocity, how we need that very badly, because that would have covered her right out of the box. Things like that, Tom, very important.
All right, so you're sitting there, you're at ground zero on this thing, and look, you're the guy. You kind of have a good sense. What is your sense telling you? What's actually going on? What do you think is happening here?
Well, I think there's been tremendous pressure, as well there should be, that this prosecutor needs to properly exercise his discretion, at least as far as Shaneen Allen is concerned. Now, look, I'm not going to come down on Ray Rice or say, whatever. He had his counsel. They did a good job. I don't know all the facts about his case. But when you compare the two, and all I know is what I've seen on the video and all that, and you say, this guy got it, and she didn't, that makes you say, why didn't she get it? Absolutely. This was a perfect solution for someone who makes an honest mistake, who was forthright with the officer from the very beginning, for which there's not a single aggravating circumstance to this case. And, it just makes you go, what do you want a person to do? Lie to the police? Is that the message you want to send? Don't tell them you have, a firearm so that you endanger the officer and yourself? What?
Now, I understand. I understand that Shaneen Allen is simply out of money. She has no money to defend herself. She's lost her job. What's her situation now? Well,
she is definitely a survivor, and she is on, tough times. But the good news is people have been generous for her legal defense fund, which, if you go to my website, evannappen.com, you can link to her defense fund. Unfortunately, fighting these legal battles, especially when the system is so hard on you, does take money, because it takes lots of time. And that's what we're talking about, time on motions, time going to court, time doing research, and et cetera. So that's what we're talking about. But she's a fighter, and she is committed to this, not just for her, but others, because she recognizes she's not the only one in Atlantic County suffering for virtually the same offense. I have another 4 or 5 cases of other licensed individuals who accidentally carried their gun into New Jersey, not realizing not only how severe it is, but that it's a problem. People make this assumption that, hey, I know that some folks say, look, you should know the law, you should know it before you do it. I understand that. But that is not the punishment. Is so outrageously disproportionate. It is, borders on insanity. You say, where are we living that, this is a punishment for someone who makes, a very honest mistake that is nonviolent and criminal, nothing.
Literally, your crime is driving across a line.
Right. An imaginary line, and yet you think, hey, this is supposed to all be the United States, and yet, even though there's full faith and credit in our Constitution, even though we have so many things that are reciprocal, for whatever reason, whether it's politics, back full circle to politics or not, we need national reciprocity for gun licenses so that states that have insane gun laws don't turn law-abiding citizens into felons inadvertently. And plus, you're right, under the Constitution, to protect yourself shouldn't just end at a state border if you're licensed by your home state to have that firearm. That doesn't make any sense either. Exactly right.
Well, Evan, please keep us posted. As soon as you hear anything, let me know, okay?
I will. Thank you, Tom, for all you do, keeping folks aware of this. Thanks.
Well, I appreciate that. Evan Nappen, the website is evannappen, NAPPEN.com. You need to go there. He is the go-to guy in New Jersey. Literally wrote the book on gun laws in New Jersey. So if you know of anybody that needs help in New Jersey, Evan is the guy to go to there. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. By the way, congratulations to all the Gun Talk folks. You're keeping the pressure up. We've got to keep it going. We are going to put our billboards up. They go up actually tomorrow. So we'll be calling more attention to Shaneen Allen's case. All right, open lines, 866-TALK-GUN, 866-TALK-GUN.
Brownells proudly celebrates 75 years of history and heritage as the world's first choice for firearms, accessories, ammunition, and gunsmithing tools. So whether you're a gunsmith in need of parts and supplies, a new shooter looking for the perfect holster, or a skilled competitor seeking the latest gear, Brownells has what you need. And best of all, every purchase comes with the industry's only forever satisfaction guarantee. Visit us at Brownells.com.
The new Walther PPX offers a smooth trigger, ambidextrous magazine release, 3 integral safeties, rugged construction, and the famous Walther ergonomic grip. All this at a great price. Right now, get a free magazine, holster, and dual mag pouch when you purchase a PPX. Feel the perfect fit of the Walther PPX at your local gun dealer or go to WaltherArms.com for more information. That's WaltherArms.com.
A great trigger can make you a better shooter. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. Installation is easy. Give yourself the Timney Trigger advantage. To see more and order online, go to TimneyTriggers.com. That's TIMNEY Triggers.com.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At ShopGunTalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. Shopguntalk.com.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Want your opinion to make a difference? Log on to our website and take the Gun Talk poll. www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Tom.
All right, back with you. 866 Talk Gun will get you in here. Line 2, Myron's with us out of Portland, Oregon. Hello, Myron. Thanks for your patience.
Hello.
Yes.
I purchased a EEA, European American 10 milligram, 10 millimeter witness pistol, 10 rounder.
Okay. Right.
And it came with the one factory. It was just a used gun. Came with a single factory magazine, and it doesn't feed correctly. I've done a little bit of research, and people are talking about changing the spring, recoil spring or whichever.
Maybe I'm not sure if it's a recoil spring or are they talking about the magazine spring?
Well, by magazine spring, are you talking about the spring within the magazine?
Yes.
The recoil spring, I think, is what they're talking about, because a magazine spring should work with 10 millimeter. So I'm trying to find out if there's any. It just won't feed properly. So I'm wondering what I need to do to correct that.
Sure. Let me ask you a question. Do you have more than one magazine, or do you only have the one?
Just the one.
Okay. First of all, you need to get like 3 more magazines, because any semi-automatic gun, you need at least 4 magazines for it.
I understand.
Once you do that, what we're going to find is first of all, let me back up. What kind of failures are we getting? What kind of feeding issues are we having?
Well, it just simply won't push the bullet into the barrel, into the breech.
Okay, so the slide
sometimes it partially leaves the magazine, and sometimes it doesn't. It does not. Usually it does, but it doesn't go out into the breech.
Okay, so the slide comes back, and then as it tries to pick up a round from the top of the magazine, what does the cartridge do? Does it like flip up, nose up, or what does it do?
No, it gets hung up. It seems to get hung up in the magazine itself.
Yeah, see, this is a magazine problem. This is not a spring problem on your gun. This has to do with the magazine lips, the feed lips, or the spring, but this is definitely a magazine problem you have.
Okay. Well, I've read of some people getting new springs. Wolf, I think, is the brand they're recommending. And,
certainly, I mean, you can do that and put a new recoil spring in. It's just cheap. I mean, there's nothing to that. You can try that, but I'm betting that it is not that. I'm betting that the issue is something with your magazine.
Yeah. Well, there are different size, different weights of 10 millimeter cartridges, and I just don't know whether that has something to do with it or not. It's tricky.
Well, I've told you what I think. I think you need to get new magazines and try those and see if that fixes it. First of all, you need no magazines. You need additional magazines anyway. So that's going to happen. So don't spend any extra money on recoil springs, because you're going to have to buy the magazines anyway. Get those, see if they work, number them, write something on them so you have like 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that if one of them is a problem, you know which one it is. And when you have one that's a problem, what you do is you take it back to the house, you take a ball-peen hammer, and you smash the devil out of it and throw it away. That's how you take care of bad magazines, because they're bad, 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 and you don't want them to misbehave anymore. So that's what we do with those. All right, well, listen, I appreciate your time. I think that's going to take care of it. If the mags don't fix it, then try another recoil spring. But, Have fun with it. 10 millimeters are tons of fun. David is on line 3 out of Texarkana, Arkansas. Hey, David, how are you?
Doing fine, and you?
I'm good. What's this about a high school?
Okay, you were talking about the M16s and the fully automatics. We had a piece in our paper. We had a piece in our paper this week that one of our local schools has just received 12, or they're in the process of receiving 12 M16s, which are Army surplus. They say that they will be converted to semi-automatic, and the other thing they say is they're going to be stored off campus.
Well, back up. Who in a high school has access to guns?
The security should be the only ones that has it.
Well, what do they have? Like one police resource officer there?
I really don't know how many the resource officers they have there. They'll have more than one because we're in a town with about 60,000 people. So The high school's big. They've got 4 police departments here in surrounding towns. That's all within just a couple of miles from them.
Okay, this sounds like this is almost the same story we got for the University of Louisiana Monroe and Northwestern State University in Louisiana, and now you're talking Texarkana, all in the same area, Arklamis and the Arklatex. They're getting these guns from the federal government. One report I read said that they got 12 guns for $500. This is a case where the citizens need to get answers. They demand answers. What's going on? What are they for? Who's getting them? How much training is taking place? And by training, I'm not talking about familiarization. I'm talking about training, active, moving, coordinated. What's going to be done with them? Who's going to have them? Who's going to have access to them? We pay those people. They work for us. We need answers. Yeah, great point. And they're afraid of teachers having a concealed carry permit. Teachers who are there who could stop it before there's even any need for the police to show up.
Tom Gresham's Gun Talk is broadcast nationwide every Sunday. If you can't hear Gun Talk where you live, call your local talk format station and clue them in on Gun Talk. Stay tuned. We're coming right back. Now broadcasting nationwide on radio, via satellite, and through downloads, iTunes, the Gun Talk app, and other podcast clients. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
Only 2 weeks away. 2 weeks until the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Chicago. You can still sign up. You go to saf.org and look on, you just click on the link there for the Gun Rights Policy Conference. It is quite the event. If you have any interest in gun rights, civil rights, this is the place to go. And the beautiful part is it is absolutely free. You got to get there, of course, but other than that, as far as attending, registration's free, all the literature is free. You'll come away with at least a foot-tall stack of books, not pamphlets, but real books. That you will be able to study, look at, read, get inspiration from. You'll be meeting people like Masad Ayub and John Lott, and you never know who's going to be there. Some of the bigwigs from NRA have been there in the past, don't know who's coming this year. And, of course, you have the people like Frank Fiamingo from the New Jersey Second Amendment Society. He's going to be there, so you can talk to him about the Shaneen Allen case. You can you're liable to meet Alan Gura, the attorney who argued the landmark cases before the Supreme Court, Heller and McDonald cases. You just don't know. Go to the website again. It's SAF for Second Amendment Foundation, saf.org. Look for the Gun Rights Policy Conference. It's 2 weekends from this weekend. So if you're in the area, by all means, make it a point to get over there for the Saturday. And you know what? You can get really good airfare into Chicago. The event is held right there at the airport. I think it's the Hyatt right next to it. I'm going to be there. Don't know what we're going to be doing there. I know we'll be doing the radio show from there. But other than that, I kind of end up being the utility infielder. Whatever they need, I do it. If they say, "Hey, be a greeter," I'm a greeter. Whatever whatever they need, I'm there because I believe in it. By the way, I don't know why I did this. Just happened to pull out my NRA member card. Man, sometimes you go back to the Wayback Machine. Life member since 10/1/75. September 1, 1975. Next year, what's that, 40 years? Holy smoke. That's a long time. I couldn't afford to do the life member deal. They had a deal you could pay for it over a 5-year period. I want to say it was something like $15 every 3 months, every quarter. I mean, it wasn't a lot of money, but we didn't have any money back then. I mean, we were just getting by, newly married, not making anything, nothing in the bank. And I said, yeah, but I'll still sign up and do it. So we did that. So anyway, I was talking a little bit about getting ready for hunting season and wanted to touch just a minute on sighting in your hunting rifle, whether it's deer, antelope, elk, whatever you're going to hunt with. Depending on where you're going to shoot, where you're going to be hunting, if you know for certain that your shots are going to be inside of 150 yards, then you probably should sight in so that your bullet is hitting exactly to the point of aim. So when you're aiming at the bullseye, the bullets are hitting right there. But if you think there's a chance you could be making a shot at 250 or 300 yards, and that's not just out west anymore, that's anywhere, big fields, power line right-of-ways, whatever, a lot of places you can get a shot like that. Then let me talk to you about how to sight in your rifle, assuming that you're not going to dial in the distance, you don't have the laser rangefinder, you're not going to do all of that. You just want something real simple. You sight your rifle in, and I'm assuming that you're working with a high-velocity cartridge, something 243, 270, 30-06, anything along those lines. Sight in so that when you're aiming at the bullseye at 100 yards, your bullets are striking 2.5 to 3 inches high at 100 yards. So you have these sighting in targets, and they have the 1-inch grids on them, and you're sighting in, and you're on the bench, and you've got good sandbags, you've got a good rest, and you're squeezing those shots off very carefully, and you're making a nice little tight group, but the group should be hitting 2.5 to 3 inches above the bullseye. Why would you do that? Well, the key here is understanding trajectory. Trajectory is just a fancy word for how things fly through the air when you fling them. If you throw a baseball, it has a trajectory. If you throw, a plate across the room, it has a trajectory. Whatever it is that you're throwing, that's the trajectory, the path. So imagine your bullet is flying think of it as like a baseball. When it starts out, it's not going flat. If you have a scope on your rifle, the line of sight from your scope will be intersected by the path of the bullet. The barrel is below the scope, and you can't see it, but it is inclined slightly upward. And there's about a 2.5 inch distance between the scope and the barrel of the bullet, the barrel of the rifle. So when you shoot, the bullet is going to pass upwards and pass through the line of sight, your line that you're seeing, at somewhere around 25 yards. So you'd actually be sighted in at 25 yards. And what you would like for it to do is to hit about 2.5 to 3 inches high at 100 yards. And then it's going to keep going up slightly, and that somewhere in the 200 to 225 yard range, it's going to hit its peak, it's going to start coming down. And at that distance, that 200 to 225 yard range, your bullet's now going to be roughly 3.5 to 4 inches high. And that's the highest it's going to be off of the line of sight. So if you're aiming at something at 200 yards, the bullet's going to hit about 4 inches high. Well, the truth of it is, especially on something like an elk or a moose or a bear, but even a whitetail, 4 inches is not very much. Just hold where you want and don't worry about the 4 inches. And now, as you go past that range of 225 yards. The bullet starts coming back down. Now it's just like a baseball. It's describing an arc. It's a parabola. And it starts coming down, and it will pass back through the line of sight at something in the order of 250 to 300 yards. And then at about 350 yards, it'll be about 4 or 5 inches low, below the line of sight. Well, what that means is that you can actually hold on out to about 350 yards, assuming you're sighted in at 3 inches high at 100 yards. Because you're going to be 4 inches high at the midpoint and 4 inches low at 325 to 350, and that's not enough to miss the trophy animal that you're shooting. So you don't have to worry about the long range or the holding over or adjustment or anything like that. You just, and yeah, you can hold low. If they come in real close and you feel like I want to aim, thing is, as they get closer, if they're like 25 yards, you're going to be right on the money. The bullet's going to hit right where it is. In reality, don't hold over, don't hold low. Remember Gresham's law? I've said this before. On the first shot, always aim at hair. Every time I've thought on the first shot, oh, that's a long shot, I'll aim, 3 inches over its back. You know where I ended up shooting? 3 inches over its back. And I didn't get my deer. And I think it was a deer in one case and an antelope in another and a fox in another case. So that's when I came up with my maxim, which is Gresham's law, always aim at hair on the first shot. If you do that, it will serve you in good stead. Anyway, that's what I would recommend for sighting in. How do you sight in? Do you like to be right on the money at 100 yards? Do you sight in a little bit high at 100 yards? And oh, by the way, do you sight in at all? Or do you just pick up the rifle from last year and hope that it's on? Oh, I hope not. 866-TALK-GUN. 866-TALK-GUN.
Hi, I'm Michael Bain. You know I hate cleaning guns, so anything that makes that job faster and easier is definitely a plus. And that's where Bore Tips come in. These reusable, lint-free cleaning swabs make cleaning a breeze. And the tighter-fitting Bore Tips do a better job on barrels than cotton mops or patches. Hey, it's a dirty job. Let Bore Tips help. To find a dealer, visit boretips.com.
Every day, law enforcement agencies worldwide put their trust in the HST bullet from Federal Premium Ammunition. Built to protect our streets and defend our freedoms, HST, in its iconic mushroom, provide reliable and consistent performance. That same technology is now available for your personal defense needs when protecting your home and defending your family. Personal Defense HST. Proven, trusted performance. Federal Premium Ammunition. Every shot counts.
You already know Liberty Safes are great values. Now they're offering an even sweeter deal for Gun Talk listeners. At LibertySafe.com, click on the Fat Boy Safe and type in Tom. Liberty will give you up to $250 off your purchase. Protect the things you value most. LibertySafe.com, click the Fat Boy Safe, promo code Tom, save up to $250. That's LibertySafe.com. LibertySafe.com.
TopGunSupply.com carries a large selection of fine firearms and accessories. Get all the parts you need for your Sig Sauer, HK, and Glock pistols. Grips, screws, recoil springs, sights, barrels, magazines, holsters. The list goes on. Our knowledgeable sales staff, professional service, great prices, and super fast shipping are here to help you. Check us out today. TopGunSupply.com. TopGunSupply.com.
There's a rise in home invasions in America, and you need to be ready. Ready to protect yourself and your family. The Bedside Backup from Crossbreed Holsters keeps your gun at your bedside, ready to go. It also folds flat for easy storage and travel. Take it with you and use with any hotel bed. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com. The Bedside Backup is not a child safety device.
Take Gun Talk with you wherever you go. Now streaming through Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, and the Gun Talk app, available for your Android or iPhone. Just search Gun Talk in the App Store. Now back to Gun Talk.
Yes, I know. And you're thinking, yeah, I know, Tom. You sight in 100, at 100 yards, you're going to be 2 to 3 inches high. But I've got the latest, greatest Loudon boomer. It's the Super Duper Magnum. It shoots flat, baby. Yes, it does. And gravity is always there. Gravity is constant, okay? So what higher velocity does for you, what better ballistic coefficient does for you, is it reduces the time. Because it's really a factor of time. If you may have heard this before, if you had a rifle barrel that was absolutely level, and you are firing say it was a 150 grain bullet, and you had a 150 grain bullet in your hand next to it, and somehow you could fire the cartridge, this 150 grain bullet exits the barrel, and the moment it does, you let go of the bullet that's there. One's going 2,700 feet per second downrange, and the other's going straight down. You dropped it. They will hit the ground at the same time. Gravity's constant. One's going to hit at your feet, and one's going to hit hundreds of yards away from you. Why? Because it had time to go that far horizontally while it's going down. More velocity allows it to go farther in the same amount of time. A higher ballistic coefficient means it doesn't slow down as much, so it goes farther in the same amount of time. It's a time and distance problem. If a train leaves Chicago, didn't you just hate those things, those are problems? So that's really what it's about. So yes, if you're shooting a 7mm STW and it's going really fast, it will shoot flatter, but gravity still does happen, and it's going to fall. Just take all that into consideration. Fortunately, you can look up the ballistic tables on all your cartridges, and you can know exactly what they're going to do. Let's go to line 2. James is with us out of Bandon, Oregon. Hey, James, how are you?
All right. How's yourself?
Good. Talk to me.
The fellow has feeding problems with his magazine. Told him to get 3 magazines and test them out. Mm-hmm. It could be cheap ammo with a burr on the edge of the rim of the case where the bullet is seated.
Could be. I wouldn't think it would happen with over and over again with ammo, though, because I'm sure he's not shooting having the same round at the top of the magazine each time.
I've had the same problem.
Yeah.
And the ammo, once in a while it will feed correctly, but most of the time it won't feed. It'll start, but it won't completely feed into the chamber.
And then if you try different ammo, it works with different ammo?
Well, I felt the rim of the case and found a burr on it, so I took a Swiss pattern file and filed off the burr, and it fed perfectly.
On the cartridge case itself?
Yep.
Did you have that same burr on all the ammo?
Most of it, yeah.
Weird. Huh. I can't remember ever having a burr on the rim of ammo like that, but yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be anything. Certainly, and ammo is, and that's a good point James brings up. Ammo is one of our variables. We have the gun, we have the magazine, and we have the ammo. Those are basically our 3 variables. Oh, the 4th one is how are you holding the gun? Because if you limp wrist it, you can induce malfunctions. I didn't even get into that. Limp wristing means not supplying enough resistance. You've got to grip it hard and lean into it. Get your nose over your toes when you're shooting. Not leaning backward, leaning into it. A good aggressive stance. Think linebacker or in position, ready to go somewhere. You're leaning forward, your weight's on your toes. That's a good aggressive athletic position. That's the kind of position you need when you're shooting the semi-automatic pistol. You've got to provide that resistance. That will make sure it works for you.
Join the NRA via Tom Gresham's Gun Talk website and receive $10 off the regular membership price. Log on to guntalk.com for details. You're listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Just because we're wrapping up on the air doesn't mean we're done talking about guns. Stick around for the after show. It's our podcast-only version designed to include all the stuff we simply couldn't fit into a regular show. Call in now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, back to Tom.
I tell you, a lot of things happening in the news out there. I'm watching these news stories going by. There was actually, weirdly enough, yesterday before, in the New York Times, an article, believe it or not, New York Times, the assault weapon myth. It was actually a very reasoned piece, well-researched, and you're just reading it and going, man, I don't even believe this thing is in the New York Times. I have no idea how they let that slip in, but they did. I also saw an article by a woman who is a pediatrician, doctor, and she's in Florida, and she is aghast that she is prohibited by law from asking parents if they have guns in their homes. And she said, I never really got into guns. I paid attention. I used to assume that my kids would always stay away from them because we didn't let them watch violent shows. We didn't let them participate in violent sports. And I just can't believe that I can't ask my patients this. Well, let's see. You just professed your total ignorance of the subject. You don't know, by your own admission, anything about guns. You don't know, by your own admission, anything about gun safety. You don't know anything about gun violence. You don't know anything about this subject. But you want to be able to counsel the parents of your patients about how they should keep their guns, whether or not they should have guns, what they should tell their children about guns. And oh, by the way, did anybody ever consider that the answers the person gives you become part of the permanent medical record that is now part of the U.S. government's records? And somehow you're aghast, you're mortified, you are outraged that you can't subject your ignorance to others. What arrogance. What unthinking, God-like, I am here to help everyone because I have letters after my name, arrogance. Wow. Fortunately, it is the law in Florida that doctors cannot ask you about your guns. Now we need to expand that to other places. By the way, keep up the work, keep up the pressure in New Jersey. Chris Christie's office. You can go to the website New Jersey Second Amendment Society, NJ2AS. That's like New Jersey Second Amendment Society, NJ2AS. You can get the latest information on the Shaneen Allen case, what's going on there. You can donate to her emergency fund. This poor lady has been put through total hell by the draconian gun laws in New Jersey. And maybe, just maybe, this will be a turning point for gun rights, where even people who don't like guns will look at this and say, these laws are just wrong. We never intended them to do this. We don't intend to put mothers who don't break the law, who don't intend to break the law, in prison for up to 10 years. That's not what we were talking about. Maybe there's a way for us to get together on this. Maybe we'll get something positive out of it. In the meantime, get ready for hunting season. Get out and do some shooting. Buy a gun. Get some more ammo. Get some of those cool optics that are out there. Take somebody out shooting with you. Trying to be a better shooter. Work on it. Practice it. Dry fire. Get out to the range. Get some instruction. It works. Meanwhile, we'll see you next week. Hey, be safe out there.